It was 1971 when Walter Meyers first met Grace. They got married, got busy, and made 4 kids, and have stayed together through all those years. Christmas is a very special day, and Grace's cooking is something they always look forward to because it got seasoning. But after years of being together, Grace dies in 2016, and Walter has to celebrate Christmas without her. 5 days till Christmas. Despite the sadness, Walter starts to decorate the house. He calls his daughter Cheryl and asks her to come over for the holidays. She promises to be civil with her sister Rachel, who she always argues with. Why Cheryl look like the Black Candace Owens? Rachel is struggling with work, and with 1 kid, Nia, things haven't really been easy. Another Meyers, Christian, is running for congressman. His wife, Sonia, wants him to put aside the campaign for his family. Even their kids, Cameron and Dee, are excited to see their grandfather. I don't trust Danny Glover after what he did to Celie Johnson, though. Evan, the youngest Meyers and the finest, is an athlete. He recently had a shoulder injury, but his coach tells him that the injury has healed and he can stop taking his meds. Evan smiles, but he still hides the painkillers in his bag. Kinda reminds me of A-Train and Compound V. Cheryl's husband, Lonnie, always brags about his NBA career from ages ago. He more washed up than his face, so he makes sure to distribute some gaming cards to anyone he meets. At their house, Walter searches for his wife's recipe, but Grace's tin can is still missing. He tries to guess the right measurements for her sweet potato pie, but it ends up looking like a white person made it. Walter's sister-in-law, Aunt May, arrives first. "Oh, that's precious, Mom." She gets real loud with him, saying he's dustier than his house. It's the Meyers' first Christmas without Grace, so May wants to help and make sure they are okay. Christian arrives next with his family. To Sonia's surprise, Christian's campaign manager, Brooks, shows up too. Walter wonders why a mayonnaise on his property talking way too much. Rachel arrives next with her daughter, and a high school friend named Malachi sees them. Omar Epps has aged like wet brown sugar. There's obviously beef between them, but Nia can't tell exactly what caused it. Rachel also shares that she's now divorced. Malachi tries to hit her up, but Gabrielle Union knows she's way out of his league. Afterward, Rachel tells Sonia that she's in law school, but has to skip a semester because of how expensive it is. When Cheryl arrives, the sisters try to tread through the awkwardness for their father's sake. Cheryl need to rethink the wig. Lonnie enters and he gives everyone cards again. He agrees to help set up the electronic Santa on the roof. However, Cheryl says his only experience with tech is his short stint working at Best Buy. Miss Cheryl Girl, this former NBA player, is dusty. As soon as Walter enters the shelter, he can't help but remember his late wife. He knows it's important for Grace, so he's excited to help even after she's gone. Aunt May has tried her best to prepare an amazing dinner for the entire family, but no one dares to try the food as they find it unappetizing. Some very Asian dishes with octopus, boba, and a white person's pickled fish casserole. Aunt May walks out on how ungrateful everyone is. They remember how great of a cook their mother was. However, the nice conversation soon turns into an argument between Rachel and Cheryl, as Cheryl makes a snide remark about Rachel's divorce. Evan is not even surprised they are already fighting. Since all the siblings can't stand each other, they all want to stay in different hotels instead. So Walter reminds them of their mother and asks them to try and get along until Christmas. Aunt May also scolds them and tells them to apologize to their father right away. 4 days till Christmas. Evan still misses his mother so much that he uses his painkillers to get high. He goes to church that day with the rest of the family and acts like everything is okay. A big-breasted woman even touches Walter to see if he's interested in her melons. The kids ask their Uncle Lonnie to get the Santa Claus working again, so he climbs the roof to fix it. Sonia is worried that he'll fall, but Lonnie insists on doing it. Cameron, Dee, and Nia then take their phones out, expecting the worst. They shady. Lonnie manages to get it to work before it malfunctions, and he falls hard on his back in front of the children. Inside, Walter still tries to make Grace's sweet potato pie, but fails again. 3 days till Christmas. While arguing, Evan decides to lock his sister, Rachel, outside. While trying to get in through the unlocked window, she gets stuck and her ass is left out hanging. Malachi happens to pass by, and though Rachel refuses to accept any help from him, he still helps her get in. Oh, that looks sussy. Despite missing Grace, the Meyers still find themselves dancing together to their favorite songs from Lemonade. Miss Parker shows them how it's really done. After that, they put up the Christmas tree. Christian heads to the town center to meet Brooks. After their biggest donor backs out, he still has the Brigham group wanting to support him. But Christian knows that they will do it only to pull in a favor someday. Christian thinks what the group wants usually goes against his principles. That same day, Brooks scores a TV interview for him. Evan meets up with his friend Eric. He asks Eric to get him some painkillers even without his prescription. While out on an errand, Lonnie gets recognized by a cashier named Jasmine. He is overjoyed that he finally has a fan. They take pictures together, and Lonnie even gives his number to her. It all gets a little flirty, and Lonnie never once mentions he's married. Lonnie, a dusty ass and a cheater? When Malachi sees Rachel again, he tries to strike up a conversation, but Rachel thinks he's so mid, and she's always pushing him away. Nia sees this, so she tells her mother that it's okay to let someone in her life even though she's headstrong. But girl, please not Omar Epps. 2 days till Christmas. Walter is so proud of Christian, and he thinks it would mean a lot if he gave a speech at the shelter. So Christian agrees. Evan then asks the entire family to play football with him. It's all fun in the beginning, until Lonnie tries to trip him. Evan gets angry, but Lonnie still fights back, trying to find his glory days like Terrell Owens. Rachel sides with her brother, but Cheryl sides with her husband. The sisters argue again, and Cheryl looks down on Rachel and points out that she doesn't have a stable job and is struggling financially. She goes full Candace Owens on her. Rachel walks away, but Nia immediately supports her mother. Walter wants to go eat, but not at Waffle House. As for Christian, he's surprised about the reports that he's supporting the rezoning of the district. He's against it, knowing that there's a homeless shelter there, which mattered a lot to his mother. That same day, Lonnie returns to the grocery store, and Jasmine is more than willing to offer him something more. This trifling hoe be doing too much. Rachel walks into the grocery store afterward, and Jasmine recognizes her because they went to the same high school. Jasmine brags about her new man and even shows Rachel the photos. She adds that Lonnie asked her to spend some time with him in Chicago. Rachel is speechless. Jasmine even adds that she'll be alone this Christmas because Lonnie has to take care of his grandma Cheryl. So Rachel comes up with an idea and invites Jasmine to spend Christmas with them. Oh girl, you is messy. That night, Walter keeps on checking the documents for the house because he wants to sell it already. When Rachel returns home, she finally tells Malachi about the prom night she missed. She admits that she overheard Malachi's friend back then talk about how it would be easy to bed her. That's why she backed out, not knowing that Malachi defended her. The argument gets intense, so much that it ends with a kiss. One day till Christmas. Walter reads the report in the newspaper about Christian backing up the rezoning of the area. He confronts his son, and Christian says some sacrifices have to be made. So Walter reminds him that when his mother was young, her family struggled so much that they ended up staying in the shelter. That shelter. Meanwhile, Cheryl puts her mac and cheese in the oven and leaves it to cook. When Rachel goes to put in hers, she adjusts the temperature so it will cook faster. Then it becomes blackaroni and cheese. Lonnie panics, so he takes the fire extinguisher to put out the fire. It all ends in chaos, and Walter has to step in once again to stop them from fighting. Later, Cheryl and Rachel clean up the mess they made. While looking for a new set of ingredients, they stumble on their mother's tin can. All the recipes are inside except for the sweet potato pie. Cheryl gets emotional, remembering the good times with her mother, so she heads out to hide her crying. Rachel feels sorry for her sister, so she immediately calls Jasmine to tell her not to come over for Christmas, but her call goes straight to voicemail. Dee apologizes to her grandfather on behalf of the family, so Walter goes back in and tries his luck again in making that sweet potato pie. This time he follows Dee's advice and smiles while he makes it. Evan takes his gift to his father, but he's not in his room. That's when he discovers the documents about selling the house. Christmas Day. Evan has been grumpy all day. When confronted, he finally reveals Walter's plan to sell the house. They are all surprised, complaining that their mother wouldn't have made that decision without consulting them. It gets so loud that Walter finally snaps and exclaims that it's his house and he doesn't need anyone's permission to sell it. Evan stomps his way out. "You can stomp on me, baby." He takes his truck and drives carelessly while taking more painkillers. Then Cameron announces that a visitor has arrived. It's Jasmine, and Rachel and Lonnie are both terrified. She says she didn't check her voicemail, so she didn't get the message. But since she's there, Rachel is too embarrassed to send her away. Lonnie confronts Rachel for bringing Jasmine into the house, and before they can deal with it, Cheryl barges in asking what the problem is. Suddenly, Jasmine spots Lonnie, and she thinks that Rachel invited her over to surprise her. She announces to everyone that they are dating and that Lonnie mentioned his sick grandma, Cheryl, that he had to take care of. Oh, shit about to go down. She shows off their pictures together and reveals that Lonnie even asked her to spend some time with him in Chicago. Christian sends all the kids into another room so they won't see what's about to go down. But Nia leaves her phone behind with the camera on, so they can still monitor how things are going. Everyone is shocked, but no one can tell Jasmine the truth. She keeps insisting on seeing Grandma Cheryl despite everyone telling her it won't be a good idea. So Cheryl volunteers to get Grandma, and she comes back carrying a gun. Everyone gets on their feet, stopping Cheryl or running away from her. They finally tell Jasmine that Cheryl is Lonnie's wife. Cheryl chases Lonnie out of the house and pulls the trigger. Lucky for him, she points in a different direction. Her family talks her down and asks her to put down the gun. See, I knew Cheryl got Republican Candace Owens in her. Cameron then announces that Evan is in the hospital. The entire family goes straight to see Evan, and Rachel and Cheryl finally have the chance to sit down for a conversation. Rachel admits she's always looked up to Cheryl, being the older sister and all. Cheryl, on the other hand, says she admires Rachel too. Then Cheryl says that she will leave Lonnie and asks if Rachel can oversee the divorce as their lawyer. Inside the room, Walter already knows that Evan has been getting high using his compound V. Evan cries and admits he still misses his mother. He's devastated that he wasn't there when his mother died. Then Walter tells him that his mother was so proud of him. While Walter's in the shelter, Christian is in a meeting with his donors. Then he realizes what really matters to him, so he tells Brooks he can't go through with it. Then he leaves them and heads for the shelter to help his father. As a gift, Cheryl also gives Rachel a $20,000 check so she can finish law school. You'll need a little more than that with the Department of Education being dismantled. Since Malachi was with Sana Lathan in high school, Malachi surprises Rachel. He wants another chance with her, so Rachel changes into a dress, and it's high school prom for them all over again. This time, they are fully aware of how they feel about each other. As they kiss, Nia secretly takes a video of them, glad that her mother can get her back broken again. And as for Walter, the sweet potato pie he made tastes exactly like Grace's. Even though she's not there, they all feel like she never really left. And as a gift for his family, Walter tears the contract for the house and enjoys the rest of the night with his kids. What a cute little Christmas movie. Probably one I love rewatching every now and then, especially during the holidays. What did you guys think of this one?
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.